This wall was not this color when it was first installed. This is white pine, and over the years, it turned this ugly orange color that you see here. Every board on the wall in the shop turned that color. This happened naturally. Nobody stained it, nothing was done to it. And yes, this happens to all wood over time. So it got me thinking, if white pine does this, then what does every other species do? Which species change the most dramatically? Does the finish that you put on it actually slow down the process or speed it up? And what exactly happens inside the wood that causes all of this? In order to help answer those questions, we're gonna be building a sample board from scratch using the boards in this stack of mixed hardwood paneling. We're gonna show you exactly how to identify every single one just by looking at the face of the boards and show you exactly what each one is gonna look like over time. But first, why does wood change color in the first place? Two things drive color change in wood: UV light and oxidation. UV breaks down lignin. Lignin is a natural component that gives wood its color and holds the fibers together. Think of it like leaving a newspaper on a sunny porch for over a week. It turns yellow and brittle. Wood does the same thing, just far more beautiful. Oxidation is the wood's natural oils and extractives reacting with the air over time. That orange color on the pine wall, that is oxidation. The resins and the extractives in the pine reacting with the air over time. Completely natural, completely unstoppable. Every species has different amounts of these compounds, so it ages on its own timeline and its own direction. And to top it off, the finish that you choose either slows these processes down or speeds them up. We're gonna talk about finishes later on, but first, let's get to building our sample wall and talk about the grade of wood used in this paneling. Trust me, it ain't what you think it is. All right, let's go pick out a bundle of paneling that we can use for our sample board here. This is the pack of mixed hardwood paneling that we're gonna be using to make this sample board with. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here. That one right there has some maple in it. Let's grab that one there. I'll get the ladder. The boards that are used to make this paneling is not the fancy pants select and better lumber that you're used to. Most of the time, paneling consists of #1 grade lumber or lower. Basically, a grade inspector looked at these boards and decided that's not good enough for furniture grade lumber. These boards got milled into tongue and groove paneling. These are end matched, meaning the ends of the boards have a tongue and groove as well. So they'll lock together like puzzle pieces. A knot in the middle of a dining table is a problem. We can live with a knot in the middle of wall paneling. We're not gonna be handpicking the prettiest boards. We're gonna put a random mix together, just like you'd get in a real mixed bundle from us. So before we start nailing anything together, we need to go to the scrap pile and grab a backing board. So I think I have the perfect piece for this. Here's that piece I was thinking about. This is gonna work great for a backing board. Like that, yep. I'm gonna quickly run through these species and show you how to identify them as I'm nailing these samples to the board. First off, we got red oak. Red oak is a beautiful reddish grained color, classic cathedral looking grain pattern. If it's face on the side grain, it's gonna have what's called medullary rays. Next, we'll have maple. This particular species is soft maple. The sapwood is going to be very white, and the heartwood is going to be a silverish, grayish colored. Now on to white oak. White oak is going to have this very distinct color around the knots. It's going to be a darker brown than any of the other oaks. It's also going to have medullaries on the side grain, but not as big as red oak. Now we got one of my top 3 woods, cherry. And cherry's gonna be just that, pinkish red like you would think cherry would be. It'll have streaks, sap marks. Now we have ash. This particular species is green ash. Green ash is gonna have a really light colored sapwood with a tannish brown heartwood. One of the dead giveaways is the fact that green ash has these swirling grain patterns. A lot of these panels, a little bit of struggle, but most of them are just going in super easy. And that's something you don't see with big box store paneling. There we go. This is your mosaic. Every species identified. Every single board placed with intention, well, sorta. Now, let us talk about what happens when we add the finish. Water-based finishes go on clear and they stay clear. What you see right now is what you're gonna get. Oil-based finish, on the other hand, add immediate warmth, and it itself will continue to yellow and deepen over time. especially with the maple woods. Those are gonna get a little more yellow over time. Just know that going in. There are UV resistant finishes out there too. UV resistant finishes use two chemical bodyguards, as we'll call them. They're UV absorbers, or UVAs, and hindered amine. Sorry, can't pronounce big fancy words. They basically act like sunscreen for your wall. Water-based finishes are like the sunscreen sprays. It stays invisible and keeps the wood's natural pale look from turning into that sunburnt orange color. Now the oil-based finishes, those are more like tanning oil. They add an immediate golden glow, but they use absorbers to make sure the wood doesn't get too dark too fast. Both will eventually run out of protection over time after a few years of heavy sun, because even the best finishes can't stop Mother Nature. It can only negotiate with her. Here. This is my favorite part. This is a polyacrylic, which is a water-based stain. It goes on clear and it stays clear. What you see once it's dry is gonna be what you see forever, essentially. Let's get her going. Man, I hope there's enough in here. Don't want to go too much because then it'll pool up. Now that this polyacrylic is done drying, we're gonna go whip up an oil-based finish for this side. Let's go. I think you're gonna like how simple this oil-based formula is that I'm about to whip up. Oil-based finishes are my favorite. They're almost as good as a good dad joke. We don't need nothing fancy, just a simple half and half formula will do. Half boiled linseed oil and half mineral spirits. There we go. I'll include links to products like this or similar products in the description below. And if you're on your phone, YouTube usually puts links for this type of stuff for YouTube shopping right down here. I'd much rather you click this link. It's so much easier to buy the products through the link right here. Either way, we earn a small commission off of anything you buy. You're not paying extra. It helps us out at no extra cost to you. Thanks. Oil-based finishes will darken all woods. Neither's wrong, just know that the oil-based finishes will darken the wood. I think it pops the grain and brings the grain out a lot better. Whoa. While the finish dries, let me show you where this material actually comes from. This is our mixed hardwood tongue and groove paneling that comes out of our kiln-dried warehouse. Right now it's currently $5.50 per square foot. It was $6 per square foot, but we're running a sale. Like I mentioned earlier, these boards are end matched, as you can see up front there. These are expertly milled boards, meaning that these will fit together very well. If you live in the central Minnesota area, or you can make the drive here, give us a call and make an appointment. I'll show you our kiln-dried warehouse, and I'll show you the sample wall too. Trust me, the camera does not do it justice. We know UV light and oxidation drive color change, but every wood species does it differently. Those paneling boards wouldn't have made good furniture grade. But over time, those boards are gonna darken, and it'll be interesting to see what they look like. Most people pick wood based on what it looks like at the lumber yard. I run into that all the time. Sometimes we have to send boards back to get planed just so that we can sell them to people. We don't exactly have time machines that we can get in to find out what the wood looks like a decade from now. And speaking of knowing your wood, we touched on identifying species earlier in the video. White oak by its rays, cherry by its pale face. But here's what most people do when they find a piece of wood that they can't identify. They take a photo, they post it to a Facebook wood identification group, and then they wait for strangers on the internet to identify what it might be. Now, that's not identifying wood. That is voting. Half the time, everyone is wrong. The comments fill up, everyone has a different answer. And you still don't know exactly what you're holding. There's a better way, and it fits in your shirt pocket. Oh, man, I thought I had a pocket. I don't have a pocket. There's a simple tool that's been around for a very long time. With it, you can identify virtually any species of wood from a tiny scrap. No Facebook needed. No waiting, no voting. No guy named Dave confidently telling you it's butternut when it's clearly ash. Most woodworkers have never tried it, and once they do, they can't believe how long they've gone without it. So we show you how to identify any scrap of wood using that simple tool in this video right here. We'll see you there, brother and sister.
Joe, you gave Kyle cookies and he's fasting sweets.
See how evil I am?
The tempter.
It's like a little devil sitting on my shoulder.
Kyle's not fasting sweets anymore.
Sorry, Jesus.